I'm Glen Mason. I'm the Managing Director of C4. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi Glenn, nice to speak to you as well. I'm Kate Snape, I'm Complex Care Manager for C4 Care.
Okay, brilliant. Kate, I understand you've been doing some really exciting work with Rochdale Borough Council around an enhanced care pilot. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the pilot?
That's right, so we've been given a brilliant opportunity from Rochdale Borough Council, as you say, which is our enhanced care reablement pilot scheme. So what this means is that we have been able to show that we can offer a structured approach to intensive support aimed at reducing hospital admissions and improving recovery. So the reablement is a short-term process that's planned over a 6-week period, with the purpose of the outcomes being that we've been able to support people in their own homes to improve their functional abilities, and to support the safe transition from hospital to home.
So have you had to provide special training to be able to do this, Kate?
Do we have specialised trained carers at the ready? We do have a complex care division at C4, as well as a paediatric service and domiciliary as well. So all of our carers through the recruitment process will go through 2 days of training, and we'll devise that training package depending on where the carers need to display these skills. So for example, we have staff that are trained in non-invasive ventilation, tracheostomy care, suctioning, cough assist, bowel management, amongst a vast array of other interventions. So once the carers have been trained, we would then send them on shadowing experience and develop them through their career paths with C4. So it's from these developed carers that we would then place on the pilot scheme, ready to go in and support at an advanced level, and offer enhanced care to people being discharged from hospital back at home, or in some cases if they're continuing at home but remain very vulnerable.
Okay, thanks for that. I know we've had some really incredibly positive feedback from customers, and the sort of outcomes we've managed to achieve are facilitating hospital discharge, starting with quite a heavy package of care, but over a relatively short period, reducing that care very substantially and preventing the need for nursing or residential care. Could you perhaps give us an example with one individual where you think it's worked particularly well?
So we would, for this particular example, I'll use an elderly lady. So for our elderly clients, we would use a tool called the Barthel Index, which is aimed at the more elderly clientele. The Barthel Index concentrates on improving daily living skills, so that people going back home or to remain in their own homes can keep their independence. So it looks at mobility, toileting habits, skills in the kitchen and preparing meals. And so an example of that would be somebody perhaps newly discharged home or has had a chronic illness may start at total dependency. So the score would be very, very low. And then as we move through the 6 weeks, and the carers are offering interventions and support and building confidence, we would like to see, and we have seen, that this score improves quite considerably. So for one lady, for example, she started off at a score of 15, and that's broken down on the tool that we use. It's widely used in the NHS, which is a score of total dependency. And after just 4 weeks of our input, she had a score of 75. This score is out of 100. So it's still moderate dependency, but a large improvement to her working towards her independence at home.
And do you think that would have made the difference between needing a much more intensive package or even residential care and being able to stay in our own home?
Gives us a visual of where somebody's at the end of the 6 weeks. So we can see quite clearly whether this particular person can have a reduced number of hours in care, or perhaps go to a domiciliary care call rather than an enhanced care package, or whether this person's hours needs to be increased. So perhaps it might become apparent that they need full-time care and they would need to be escalated into residential care or a nursing home.
So it saved the council quite a lot of money, as well as being incredibly beneficial for the customer.
Absolutely, and if somebody can remain safely at home, and it does involve having an increase in hours to keep them safe at home, if the person has capacity, then absolutely you will find that most people want to stay in their own environment and be kept safe at home, where they've spent most of their lives.
And even if somebody is likely to have a long-term care package, can rehabilitation be beneficial?
Absolutely, because it's doing with somebody and not doing for. So you find very often, and a really good example of this is long admissions in hospital. So that might be down to a chronic illness, or that they just simply, there is nowhere to place this person when they are medically fit. So they end up, bed blocking is a common phrase that's used. And when this happens, the individual becomes very de-skilled and deconditioned. So they will lose muscle wastage due to lack of mobility or risk of mobilizing around. And they begin to slowly lose any independence that they've had. So when we help them and support them to go back to the home environment, and they can build the confidence, they might not be able to get to a level where they're completely independent again, or they might need quite an extensive care package, but they are able to work on remaining independent and relearning the skills, which is what reablement is, that they lost during that long extended hospital stay.
That is brilliant. So we've really given somebody a completely new lease of life through that reablement approach.
Yeah, and we've seen it, and these can be displayed in when we're talking about doing with rather than doing for. These can be simple things to start with, such as opening their own blister pack. Often carers, they'll have a long run, they'll have limited time, they come in and they want to offer the support, and by doing this, they will pop the blister pack, give the person the medication, they will go in the kitchen, make the cup of tea, they will do the full wash for the individual, put the clothes on, move on to the next person. This is a classic example of how people become de-skilled and deconditioned. So even starting with simple tasks such as popping their own blister pack, communicating with the client, this is what you're taking today, do you know what you're taking, why and how, and I'm just building independence around all their essential daily living skills that they're going through each day. Putting on their own slippers, being able to button up their own shirt, but also in terms of meal prep, a really huge thing is encouraging people to be mobile and walk into the kitchen, making their own choices. So having a look in the cupboards, in the fridge, making decisions on when they need to put the shopping order in and what food they would like to buy and what they would like to have for dinner and how it would be prepared, and to be involved in all those activities rather than somebody coming in offering the support, but like I say, just providing all these daily living skills for them.
That is really, really impressive. And that's all the independent skills, the physical skills. But what about mental well-being? Does it have an impact on people's mental well-being?
Absolutely, because they're discovering a purpose again, aren't they? So
Yeah.
they've got purpose in the day, because the main thing is for these clients is to be at home and to be doing as much as they possibly can for themselves. So mental health wise, being encouraged, prompted, supported safely to mobilise around your home a few times a day has a great benefit on anybody's mental health. It gets the blood flowing, the oxygen pumping around your system. It's great for wound healing. You find quite commonly in the older generation that they get problems with the legs or cellulitis, and the district nurses will come in and dress and support. But without that mobility and that encouragement and the encouragement to have a positive mental attitude each day, these are the things that you find to deteriorate, such as wound healing, which causes regular, frequent hospital admissions.
Okay, thank you. And then to finish our conversation today, I just wanted to come back to you, Kate, because I know you're a very experienced, very skilled, very senior nurse. What's your role been with this pilot with Rochdale?
Hey Glenn, thank you for the compliments. I'm a registered nurse by background. My role has been to work with the other members of the team at C4. So we have the quality care team, registered managers, the carers have been absolutely key. That goes without saying. Just to have regular catch-ups with the whole of the team, meetings to show transparency with our documentation, our outcomes, our matrix of how we're progressing people along, and to just link in with, most importantly, with families, and like I say, the carers there on the front line to see how we can measure these people's individuals' progression and outcomes.
That is brilliant. Okay, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Kate. It's been really, really interesting to talk to you. Really interested to get your insights into a real groundbreaking pilot. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks for your time. It's been lovely talking with you.
Thank you.